Welcome to Wednesday Wisdom, and today I want to talk about one of the most common mistakes people do when they're starting out with a portfolio, and that is to limit their purchase price, thinking that the lower the price, the easier it is to hold onto the property. So I'll give you a live example. There was a client that had come into the office, and I'm talking about you, the approval she had was up to a 750, maybe 800k purchase. Yet she was going to limit herself down to 700 as an absolute maximum, preferably the 650. We sat down with her and mapped out a plan of buying a property, obviously in the Melbourne market. And we very quickly were able to demonstrate that if she did reduce her purchase price limit down to the 700, the quality of the property obviously would be different, but more importantly, the outcome of that investment journey in terms of the holding cost of the property would be very different. And we wanted to invest within the 45-minute ring around Melbourne. And a 700 budget would then push us further out and be pushing us into properties that were older to be able to get at least the same yield. But more importantly, if we just did 50,000 more, even within the same suburbs where we'd be able to find the 700k properties, we would be able to get a newer property, and therefore we had the holding cost, which was much lower because the rents were slightly higher. The property would require less maintenance, and importantly, and even though I talk always about not taking tax into account when you're investing, this is where we need to look at it from a global perspective. A 750 purchase price property would be a much newer property, and therefore we can throw in the depreciation as well. And given that it made the difference of being able to buy a 3-bedroom home as opposed to a 4-bedroom home, where the 4-bedroom home obviously at the 750 mark is a far better property, we were able to get a more stable tenant in a much more established area. And therefore the thought process of instinctively people sort of think that, okay, if I spend less money, I will get more returns in terms of more rent and easier to hold on to the property, because it's a hangover from the days of paying owner-occupier mortgages, right? So the higher your loan, obviously, the higher your repayments, and hence that thought process of perhaps getting into a cheaper property. There is a place for a cheaper property in the portfolio, but perhaps we need to be looking at it that spending a little bit more gets you a better quality property and a better quality area, and the end result is far better. Now, having said that, if you can't qualify for the 700, 750, we'd use the same concept in the lower price bracket. So it doesn't mean that you have to have a entry point of the 700 mark. It just means that we need to be looking at it from a viewpoint of, by spending just a little bit more than what you instinctively want to spend, you are going to get a better quality outcome and a better journey, because the property itself would be better. That's it for the Wednesday Wisdom. I hope you have an awesome week, and I'll see you again next week.